So it's clear, it's remarkable to me that Dad touched so many people. This is unbelievable. I was expecting 40 or 50 people. But he touched a lot of people, and everybody was happy to call him a friend. We were blessed to have him as our dad. Our kids loved their grandfather. The closeness of our family is all we know, but it was remarkable. And we rally around each other for any event, any excuse for us to get together, we get together. And that's just what we do. That comes from Mom, who organizes everything, Ronnie and Donnie, who are the patriarchs, and then all the cousins. Is about 31 of us. We used to take over the big pool. We now sort of have gravitated to local bars and restaurants. Anyway, Donnie will be missed by all that he touched, especially his family. I mean, he lived the past 10 months to the fullest. We felt he was living with cancer, not dying of cancer, and he had a few milestones. One was to make it to my daughter's wedding, which he did, which we were thrilled with. His legacy is what his kids and grandchildren represent. The kids, meaning the boys, we're already baked, we're done, cooked, but it's really the grandchildren and that next generation that are still being formed that are so important for us and Don's legacy. I know all 7 of them loved him and learned from him. We have one adopted grandson, which I'm going to get to in a moment. He loved them. He talked to them all the time. They visited all the time. And at the risk of embarrassing my daughter here, I'm going to read what my new son-in-law wrote yesterday about Don. I think most people here will understand. If I get through this without breaking down, it'll be a miracle. So this was written to me, my brother Paul, and my brother Andy from our son-in-law, Allison's wonderful husband. I feel as though I lost my father and I am multiple steps removed. I can only imagine how you feel. Grandpa Don taught me through example how to treat strangers like family, like strangers like friends, friends like family, and family like the goddesses and gods they are. Thanks to Grandpa, the bond between every member of your family is like glue. The foundation he laid and the subtle passion he used to instill those values in every Leventhal and every confused Indian boy who happened to be in the right place at the right time will not be forgotten. I'm delighted to hear that the last hours were beautifully spent with the close-knit Leventhal family. I'm sure Grandpa would have had it no other way. The picture of Grandpa and Ronnie in the bed together will live with me forever. I'm a lucky person to have this family in my life. I will continue to learn from you as I did from Grandpa, and one day I will pass these values along in a continuous cycle of love, knowledge, laughter, and curiosity. He had that impact on everybody, all 31 Leventhals, and we were blessed, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the next in line. So thank you.
Thanks everybody for being here. I realize that words may not be it will just be a minor consolation for a time like this, but the living memories lift me up and give me the support that I need. As you all know, well, I guess everybody here knew Dad to some degree, some of you a little bit, some of you a lot. I've run into a number of you already that have known Dad for 50, 60 plus years, and that's hard for me to wrap my head around. But as you know, Dad was all about family, and Dave just talked about that. Loving his kids, his daughter-in-laws, his grandkids, his first son-in-law. But before Dad fell asleep into his deep sleep on Tuesday afternoon, he told me that this was one of the best days of his life. Why? Because he had his 3 kids, his daughter-in-laws, his wife, and his brother by his side at the pool in a nice sunny day. And maybe even more importantly, all his grandkids called him to tell them how much they loved him and that he was going to be okay. Many of you don't know about Don, that he was also a teacher. I think he was a lousy teacher, but he taught me a lot of things. Classic Jewish father, pushing when I was a kid. Become a dentist. I went into business. Do something that people need. Okay?
Yeah, it's let me just get. Sorry.
Okay. He said, do something that people need. So I went into technology and do something that nobody understands, especially him. Marry a Jewish girl. It's easier. I married a Japanese woman. Be near your brothers. I lived in Seattle, London, Tokyo, and have been in San Francisco for 30 years. And while I didn't listen to a lot of these lessons, I can say that the most important thing I've ever learned is his understanding of life. Dad's been declining quickly over the past few weeks, but he still had the clarity of mind to know where his line between life and death was. For him, he lived with cancer as long as it didn't impact his golf game, his bridge game, time in the pool, and his tongue sandwiches here at the club with his buddies. I'm serious, the tongue sandwiches was like the most important thing to him. However, as the pain became too great and the cancer began taking over his other functions, this wasn't living for him. This courage emerged very late in his life, as far as I'm concerned, but it helped him transition so gracefully and with the dignity that I only can hope that I have when it comes for my time. Maybe you can find some small measure of comfort and prayers of peace from my words. Thanks for being in Don's life. And I know he misses all of you.
I don't want to read yours. Okay. I don't want to read. I'm Paul. I'm the guy who did listen to Dad. I'm the dentist. I'm not sure that was the right thing to do, but and I married Jewish. And I live pretty close. First of all, I want to say that we're all lavishing praise on Dad. But did he really do anything? Lots of jokes. A 6-foot, apparently, I wasn't here for it, but a 6-foot mannequin in a Superman outfit at some hysterical gag gift party, would probably becoming legend here at Bell and Isle. But Dad hits under par for the round in his life, but he had a hell of a caddy. Let's not forget, Mom was the CEO of operations. She did a great job. Dad was a sort of a spiritual leader, but technically he had an allure, but he didn't have a way of pulling it off without Mom. And I want to just say that. We love you, Mom, and we're here for you. Thank you, Andy and Dave, for illustrating so beautifully the image of Dad's last days and some sentiments that have affected you. I couldn't have described it any nicer. I've been thinking this morning about what he did to shape us into who we are, and I came up with strong, kind, compassionate, and pretty funny for the most part, mostly me. Easygoing and non-judgmental. I'm working on those too. My first memory of Dad, and I mean this, my first memory of Dad is standing on the street with these two guys. It's not a big deal. And Dad would throw a pot fly, and I swear he was a big guy, and it would go into the clouds and come down into my glove. It was just, that's how high it would go, and I would just wait for it to come down. Do you remember that? We would field pop flies, grounders, and short hops.
It just never went in your glove.
I don't know where it went, it just stayed in the clouds. Pop flies, grounders, and short hops on the street for years, and it was just he just wanted to teach us competition and perseverance, and he did it. He was a good teacher. When I was 5 years old, he lifted me onto the roof from the deck, and I was now, at one point I was 30 feet above the house, and he wanted to clean the gutters out with me. But it was a matter-of-fact thing with him. For 5 years old, he'd say, "You don't fall over when you're walking. Why would you fall over on the roof? Get it done. What's to be afraid of?" I still hear those words. Why would you walk? Why would you fall? You don't fall over when you're walking. Confidence and bravery. He taught me just to do stuff, fix stuff. I never felt that I was unable to do something just because I had never tried. It stays with me. I just do stuff. I do anything I want. Imagine that. I do anything I want whenever I want. That's what these two things do for me. And he taught me that.
Well, if you're a dentist.
Well, yeah. I can do brain surgery. So there's confidence. For 6 years, we worked together in his office, and I learned how to convey kindness, confidence, and humor to our patients. This was something that you don't learn in school. You learn technique. This was the magic that I think made him who he was. He taught me how to gain the trust of thousands of people, to build my life and my practice using my good skills and confidence. Since his illness, I've received so many comments from old staff members and patients. I'm still treating some of his patients. Caring words saying how he was the best boss, the best dentist, and how much they loved working with him. Not unlike you guys. I think that he touched people in a unique way. I think if I had to boil it down, I could say that Dad lives his life without judging people. He just saw everyone as themselves. When he walked into a room, he didn't see clothes, furniture, jewelry, or cars. He just saw people. When he met 3 recent people in his life, I want to read 3 passages from 3 people that he recently met. They commented on his passing, and I think they're very touching comments. From surprising people, by the way. Shark, as you know, Dave's new son-in-law, wrote a beautiful passage. I want to read it again. It's very tough to get through, but I think it's worth repeating because it's so... it just shows what kind of a person he was. Grandpa Don taught me through example how to treat strangers like friends, and friends like family, and family like the gods and goddesses that they are. Thanks to Grandpa, the bond between every member of your family is like glue. The foundation he laid and the subtle passion he used to instill those values in every Leventhal and every confused little Indian boy who happened to be in the right place at the right time will not be forgotten. He recently formed a friendship with just 3 words. It's kind of a funny little story, but I'm not going to go into the story, but he touched somebody's life just because of the essence of who he was. As he walked by this person, he would just say something funny every few times he met her, and he just made some comment, just a pleasantry, and it turned into a friendship. And her comments were, Don, when we joined Ballinisle almost 6 years ago, it was with the hope we would meet some nice people and make some new friends. We hit the jackpot with you. Always a kind word and a great smile every time we saw you. You have no idea how much that always meant to us. It has been a pleasure spending time with you over the last year through your illness, and I hope you know how much we care about you and love you. And finally, a real surprise. I'm gonna do this.
Don't make me do it. Do you want me to
Who
read
wants
it?
to read? I gotta read it. My son, who's 18, is a freshman in college, and he just met his first love. Very important person in his life, as we all know, our first love. Might be the last and only, but who knows? It doesn't matter. He felt it necessary to bring her down to Florida to meet his poppy. And she writes, 6 hours? I don't know how long it was. A 6-hour meeting. Mr. and Mrs. Leventhal, I wanted to let you know that today has been a life-changing day for me. Being with Jonathan and hearing all the beautiful words about his puppy and your family has been a beautiful experience. Just by being with Jonathan for this short time, I have learned so much about his immense love for his family. When I met Poppy, I saw everything I have learned and love about Jonathan, and I am so grateful to have spent that day with him. The love your family has is contagious, and thank you for letting me be a part of that. Dad was a strong, kind, compassionate, and funny guy who planted his legacy, 11 tall trees rooted deep into the soil. Thank you.
So I came down here earlier this week, and Dad's handwriting was getting worse and worse towards the end of his days, and he had scribbled something, but it was very important to him, and he asked me to type it for him. And I have the honor today to read a letter that he has written for each and every one of you. You are all so important to him in his life. And his letter is titled, "Don't Cry for Me." I have had a most wonderful life. I played hard and worked hard all my life. The goal in my life has always been to be the best that I could be, but also to do it as efficiently and quietly as possible. Then the kids all arrived. The love of my life went from home, work, and then to my 3 boys. Just more incentive to be as productive as possible. Mom took care of running the house, the bills, and the education. I was in charge of providing a good life. We made a great team. Approaching the end of the road is no problem for me. I had a good run, made a few mistakes, and the last 20 some odd years here in Ballinisle has been like heaven with taxes. Look what is left, a great cohesive group of kids. Everyone loves one another. Not a bad product of my life. It has been a great run. No tears, no crying. And then he ended it up with the Looney Tune. That's all, folks. That's it. If there's anyone here, we thank you so much for coming. If there's anyone who wants to say anything, feel free, and just thank you.
Hold on, let me just. So